What was it like to get into ministry first up? Do you remember your early days of it?
Yeah, absolutely. What's interesting is when I first joined the church, Pastor Nabil mentioned to me to do the preaching course.
Okay.
I thought, preaching course? Man, everybody at church knows more than me. How am I going to get up and preach to them?
Yeah.
I'm only new, and I was afraid to say things incorrectly because
it's the most nerve-wracking thing in the church.
As you would know.
100%.
I wasn't brought up in the Baptist realm, okay? But I did it. I always looked at it from the perspective, if that's what God's putting in front of me, you do it.
Yep.
You don't look sideways,
Okay.
and you just do it. And I did it. And, like I tell most people, sometimes you've got to put your hand over your eyes and walk by faith. And I did. And, mate, for years, like over 3 years, when I would preach, I would get that nervous before the message. I'd be pacing up and down the hallway with bloodshot eyes. I was one of those people that get really nervous.
Yeah. And it's not the public speaking side of it, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't really realize. It's not about public speaking.
100%.
You're pretty much like me, where we can talk anyone's ear off. It's the fact that it's presenting God's word.
Yep.
That is the massive
You
part
become
of
accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that rocked my boat. I'm not going to lie to you, but the more I persisted, the more I learnt with studying the scriptures to prepare my message, and it was just a journey from there on in. I became a Sunday school teacher, so I was already studying, so it kind of helped me on that walk. And thank God, I still am uncomfortable with preaching the word, but not like what it was previously.
Yeah, I don't think you ever lose that though. I think it's a good thing to have that discomfort in you, because it reminds you of what you're doing. I think the day you lose that is going to be a very dangerous day preaching the gospel.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there was one instance where I took it for granted and I went to preach, and in my mind it was like, you know what? I'm used to this.
Yeah.
I'll be okay.
Yeah.
It was only once how long have I been preaching for now?
Just the Hill
Over
days,
10
right?
years?
Yep.
How long have you been in this building?
11 years now, I think.
11?
10 to 11,
No.
something like that.
So about 13 years of my preaching,
Yeah.
there was once I had this experience where I went to the pulpit thinking I'll be all right. From the beginning of the message to the end of the message, I felt disconnected from the people. It was one of the worst moments of my life. The Spirit was not there. When I got off, I went and knelt down. I crouched, thinking, I pray nobody comes up to me. I was that ashamed and embarrassed. From there on in, I made sure I was prayed up. I fasted, and I never took it for granted ever again after that.
Yeah, I think everyone has one of those experiences where they realize this is more than what we give it credit for. And I think being in ministry for as long as some people have, you can lose that very quickly, because it becomes second nature.
Yeah.
Going to church, I'm doing this, it's all good. But then you forget who we're doing it for and why we're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the danger of being boastful and letting it get to your head, I suppose, Ray. I mean, as you would know, God will just bring you back down that quick.
Yeah,
and he did to me on that day, and I'll never forget it, mate. I'll tell you what, rock my boat.
Ministry is one of the most humbling things on the planet, mate.